My name is Dr. Sang-Yoon from the School of Cybersecurity at Korea University. I will be serving as the moderator for today's Korea University International Conference on Cybersecurity and Privacy, which is so-called KU-ICCSP. KU-ICCSP began last year, and this is our second conference. I would like to sincerely thank all distinguished guests for taking the time to join us from this Jeju. And before we begin, I would like to ask for your kind understanding. We had originally planned to begin with opening remarks by the Dean of the School of Cybersecurity. However, due to a flight delay, he is expected to arriving during the session. So we will offer our official greetings and thanks when he arrives, and we will take the group photo after the session. So thank you very much for your understanding. So today's first session is the ambassador session. So we are deeply honored to welcome the ambassadors of Rwanda, Germany, Singapore, the European Union, and Estonia to Korea, and as well as Ambassador Kwon, Ambassador for International Cyber Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Korea. This session will be chaired by Professor Sung-Joo. Professor Choi previously served as Ambassador for International Security at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, and also as Korean Ambassador to Poland. He is now a distinguished professor at the School of Cybersecurity, Korea University. So now I would like to hand the floor over to Professor Choi. Please welcome Professor Sung-Joo Choi with a warm round of applause.
Here. I should stand up or can I be seated? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. And before, of course, we start the initial session among 4 different sessions to be organized by Korea University. In fact, it's the first time for Korea University to organize these sessions, not only this one, but also 3 others, in cooperation with the Jeju Forum, in the context of the Jeju Forum. Previous one was organized last year, at the campus itself of Korea University on the occasion of 120th anniversary of the Korea University. And at that time, Secretary General Ban attended to deliver keynote remarks on the theme of AI, cyber, and SDGs and ESG. And this is in this regard, a follow-up session, with the same name of KU, Korea University, ICCSP, International Conference on Cybersecurity and Privacy. So first and foremost, I should welcome ambassadors accredited to Korea, particularly to take part in this session, as well as Ambassador Jiun from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And first, according to the order of the seating arrangement, I invite Ambassador Nkubito of Rwanda to the floor. Please come. And then Ambassador Schmidt of Germany, please come to the floor. And Ambassador Wong of Singapore, I invite you to come. And Ambassador ASTUTO of European Union, please come. Welcome. And Ambassador Sel from Estonia, please come. to join us. And lastly, but most importantly, maybe, Ambassador Yoon Jong from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Welcome. Well, before I give the floor to each and every ambassador present here, first, I should express my utmost privilege to you in front of all 6 ambassadors, including myself. I'm not the current ambassador. I alone, I am a former ambassador, but I used to be an ambassador. So if you permit me, also I could be categorized as an ambassador. So in this regard, I should call this session ambassador session with your permission. I think you all attended the morning session. Maybe many of you also attended the previous session with the candidate for the post of next UN Secretary General. And I heard many times, so many times, about the vocabulary AI, artificial intelligence, importance of artificial intelligence. So many times, particularly during the session with the candidate of Secretary General, many candidates also mentioned the AI for the youth, AI and digital divide as well. So AI contains so many elements for our discussion. So that's the main reason why we chose to take our theme as AI Cyber Nexus. So in terms of a choice of this topic, I can say it's timely. Upon starting this session, I should mention why we are talking about the AI Cyber Nexus. Number one, I think the main operating space for AI is cyberspace, particularly in case of generative AI, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. That's number one. And number two, why AI Cyber Nexus? Why we discuss about the nexus between AI and the cyber? In this regard, I should stress the just close linkage between AI and the cyber when it comes to cybersecurity. When it comes to cybersecurity, AI could play a dual role. It's like dual-edged sword. If we use AI for the good purposes, we can strengthen cybersecurity. Otherwise, our cybersecurity could be seriously threatened because of the AI, technology itself of AI. This is the point number 2. And my point number 3 relates to the cybercrime in relation to the AI. By using the AI technology, according to the statistic I read before coming to Jeju Island, recently there was a shocking increase in the cybercrime of about 300%, which is dependent on AI technologies, such as deepfake. So the situation is becoming more and more serious. So this is a direct challenge to existing legal regime as well, including Budapest Convention and UN Cybercrime Convention. And lastly, number 4, like cyber technology, our common task is how to maximize the benefit and the convenience originating from AI while addressing its negative aspect. So this is a huge challenge for us all. But before I give the floor to Ambassador Nkubito of Rwanda, I should stress this point. For every technology, whatever technology, including cyber, AI, human should be at the center. So human-faced, human-centered AI should be our common slogan, common motto in a sustainable way in the years to come. With this, to save time, I will cut my word here, and I invite now Ambassador Nkubito from Rwanda to make a statement. You have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, and I also want to express my thanks to the Jeju Forum and the Korea University for inviting me, but also organizing this important panel. In my presentation, I will share first the situation of the continent in terms of cybersecurity policy, as well as the implementation framework and where we are with that. And I will use Rwanda as one of the models that has elected technology both to accelerate its development, but also the implication that we had to do immediately with cybersecurity. And I'll try also to share with you how I see Africa positioning has rightfully put by the ambassador that we are in a context that is a bit special. So first of all, if you look at 30 years ago, most African budgets, most African focus were on road, energy generation, energy transmission, energy access, etc., the hard infrastructure. But if you look at the budgets today, if fast forward 30 years, you'll see that a lot of the budget is now being focused on digitalization, digital infrastructure. And this translates into national data center, digital IDs, mobile payments, digital e-government platforms, and artificial intelligence to enable public services. So this implies, of course, an increase or a different type of vulnerability that are being quickly developing. So at first, all countries had the different programs, but it showed up quickly that there was a need for a common policy, a common approach. That's where the AU, as part of its 2063 goals, decided to set up a framework where cybersecurity is addressed with all member states. And this was translated by a policy, in a policy that was developed and adopted in the Malabo Convention. And that was a big achievement, because all of a sudden you had legal instruments on cybersecurity, you had how to address cyber crimes, and also data protection. With all this digitalization that is ongoing, privacy, data protection was a fundamental. And there's also parallel to that, we had to address the capacity building as a continent. And of course, it also triggers a lot of cooperation between countries, especially for cross-border payment, cross-border cybercrime, cross-border investigation, etc. So if you look at who are the players, or the policy level, you have the African Union Commission, which is driving all the policies, ensuring that they're up to date, and also updating them as with AI, things are changing so fast. You have an Africa CERT that coordinates all the security standards, but you also have the African Development Bank that has set up financing for different projects that are related to digital infrastructure protection, development, but also protection. There's a Smart Africa, which is an organization, international organization, based in Kigali, that is developing from the standards, the policies. It's accelerating specific models that African countries can adopt quickly. So you have 40 countries that are members, and this has enabled cooperation. Some countries would champion digital IDs, others will champion AI, others will champion smart government, which enable to have many many cases where you can, at the same time, look at the development of digitalization, but also the protection for it. There's a strong push on all the security organs to cooperate, Interpol, Afripol, that are coordinating cybercrime investigation, and cross-border laws to be able to share information, etc. If I can share just the payment system in Africa, it's an SMS-based payment system, meaning it's a text-based payment system. It does not you go through a mobile data system. So it generates a different type of cybercrime requirements compared to the rest of the world. So if you look at the Rwandan case, post the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Rwanda elected to use technology to accelerate its development. So immediately we had to do two parallels. One, the digitalization of different platforms in the country, but also immediately set up cybersecurity to be able to address the vulnerability. So if you look at Rwanda has had a digital ID for many years now. That's one of the projects that we had to start with. We had to build the fiber optics in partnership with Korea, fiber optics connecting all the districts, so government can now start exchanging documents online. And of course, as you can imagine, when you put operation, when you put processes, when you put digital information and documents online, this has to go with some level of protections, not only at the network level, but also all the way at the digital level. So Rwanda has had several development processes that have been ongoing. And when you look at digitalization for the continent, again, we are a continent that is developing very fast, with today 1.4 billion population. And if you take 20% of that, that's about the upper middle class and higher. So these are people who have all their documents, all the processes that are already online, and they need protection. And this represents great GDP's contribution in our country. So Rwanda has a similar case with even higher levels of alphabetization and as well as digitalization. So in our policy and our goals in Vision 2050, we see digitalization has really an economic enabler. It is part of our national security priority and also a governance requirement. So in our architecture, we have a National Cybersecurity Agency, which does the policy implementation. And the policy, we have data protection law, as well as a privacy law. And we have different standards that have been set up to ensure that networks, platforms, etc., meet a certain level of security to be able to have, to be authorized to serve the public. So there's 4 pillars. These are the classic pillars. I will not repeat them, that we follow. These are the same principles as everywhere else. The fundamental for the continent, and Rwanda has acknowledged it very quickly, was skills. So today, education is key for fundamental research. That's why this panel is very important. That is organized by a university, Korea University. Education is key. You want to also have professional training because the skills requirements change very fast, and youth engagement. Most of the continent, starting with Rwanda, 65% of the population is below 25. So they are digital ready. They are digital they're all digital born. So it's important to accelerate their awareness, their training, etc. A lot of our education, one of the last roles that I played in the government before I went to the private sector and now I'm back to the government, was the transformation of education, because fundamentally, we cannot continue to teach the way we thought before. But also, this also implies that we had to, for the devices, the smart classroom that we've set up, we had to really ensure that the networks are not hacked. We have to ensure that they are protected. We have to ensure that the content is curated, while at the same time giving them the freedom to look at any content. If you have a child in the remote village in Rwanda, he had access to the different courses that were offered in Singapore or in MIT or in Europe. So education is key, but of course, especially in Rwanda, we are very gender sensitive. The majority of the population is women, so we have a dedicated focus on women for different training, but also on cybersecurity. So AI, cybersecurity, as an African's next challenge, it's a fundamental. There's no way around. Digitalization is accelerating. It's not slowing down. Most countries on the continent are now getting the digital IDs. They are putting their services online. And they are accelerating education through AI with virtual education that is being spread everywhere. So cybersecurity is a fundamental. And to that effect, AI has a double sword, to borrow your words, on this transformation. On one hand, you're able to detect faster the threats, and also to automate the responses. You need less human intervention, just more monitoring. And also you're able to strengthen the resilience, because once you've identified a gap, you're able to reroute the networks. You're able to block the data that has caused the issue, or you're able to automatically address the problem. But the risks are also there, and there are many, especially for a continent that is still building its capacity and its skills. The attacks are more sophisticated. There's a lot of deep fake, as mentioned, the disinformation, and of course, all other new vulnerabilities that we are discovering as we go along. If I can share an example quickly, we had deployment of smart classroom, but of course, you had now to ensure that these smart classroom are not used for cheating. So quickly, I think I ran out of time. So for the world, cybersecurity for the continent is not only a tool, or is not only a competitive edge, it's more of a development accelerator. And I'll stop right there. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador Nkubito, for your very substantive and really helpful presentation. Well, your presentation reminds me of great importance of cyber capacity building. In this regard, Rwanda, I traveled a couple of times to Rwanda. One time accompanying Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, SG Ban himself appreciated really highly what the Rwanda government achieved in the field of particularly digital and IT. And now, as you mentioned, also the importance of education. Africa is a relatively young continent, but particularly, I was really impressed to hear that in your country, 65% of people, really young people under the age of 25, right? So means that this is very good, and it predicts very clearly very constructive future of Rwanda. In this regard, my congratulations. And I have one very brief question. You mentioned the Malabo Convention. Malabo is, I think many of you might not know the city of Malabo. Malabo is the capital city of Guinea Equatorial, right? Guinea Equatorial, Equatorial Guinea. So Malabo Convention, adoption of Malabo Convention made a huge contribution to Africa. So could you tell us the implementation status of Malabo Convention at this stage and any obstacle or difficulties? Briefly, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Indeed, the Malabo Convention was a fundamental change in terms of addressing cybersecurity requirements for the continent. One, it was an adoption of a policy that all member states agreed on, which was fundamental. And secondly, it set up an implementation framework. So from the policies, we then had an implementation framework, institutions that are able to agree on the standards that are going to use. And secondly, co-share models of each country that have been allocated as models. And we're very fortunate that Rwanda was one of them. In terms of, one, setting the standards, but also how do you develop those standards in all the institutions. As mentioned, mobile payment is one of the key drivers in digitalization on the continent. And mobile payments are still needed to be cross-border, because there's several cross-border exchanges, and this gives great opportunity for vulnerability. So the framework that was established in Malabo has enabled this, not only the policy level, but also the implementation level. But it also fundamentally enabled cooperation between countries, exchanges of information, but also co-projects, regional projects, etc. And it's really a transformational moment.
Thank you very much once again. And before I give the floor to Ambassador Schmidt of Germany, with your permission, I invite now Dean of School of Cybersecurity, Dr. Jong himself. He took a very hectic way from the airport because of delayed arrival of his flight. So please come here to the floor to salute ambassadors and to deliver your message. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeong from the School of Cybersecurity at Korea University. And first of all, I apologize for being late because our flight has been delayed. So I'm sorry for being late. Actually, my being late is a good thing, because I have prepared a very long welcome remark, but now we can skip the long remark. I just want to say we welcomed all the ambassadors from the European Union, Germany, Rwanda, Singapore, and Estonia. And we also welcomed Ambassador for the International Cyber Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea. I'm sorry, I have forgot something to say. I just want to say that our school, our Korea University, will hold the 4 sessions about the cybersecurity. Today we will have the 2 sessions, and tomorrow we will have 2 sessions. So I hope you guys will come and enjoy the sessions about the cybersecurity. I think that's all for my brief opening remark. Once again, I apologize and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jong, for your brief but very impressive speech. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming to join us to this hall. Thank you. And I now will invite Ambassador Schmidt of Germany to continue your presentation. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting ambassadors. You would wonder, why should we listen to ambassadors? Why are not here high-tech executives, engineers, AI experts? But I think there's a good reason for it, because ambassadors deal with the norms, how we do things together globally. And I think there we have an important voice, and it forces us also to speed up. If you read about AI, there's all these doomsday scenarios. It's so powerful that even the experts know what's going to happen. There are all these people who say, let's press the pause button, and that is a cause for concern. That is a cause for concern. And that brings me back to like the debates about nuclear. When nuclear weapons first came, we said, look, there's something that we can technically do, but if we do it, we might destroy the whole Earth. So there are lots of parallels in that, but there are also a lot of difficulties. First of all, if you look at the speed, the first nuclear arrangement, 1968, so 45 to 68, it took a long time before we had the first treaty to deal with that. And the NPT actually divided the world in nuclear haves and nuclear have-nots. I don't think this will work with AI. I don't think the people will say, oh, it's fine, they're just the US and China, and we just sit there and wait from time to time something will come down as... And then we look at 1972, SALT I, SALT II, and ABM, the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty. Why do I mention it? Because government said, let's make ourselves vulnerable. Will the same happen with AI? Will governments say, let's make ourselves vulnerable? I do not know whether this will work or not. But the threat was there of MAD, mutually assured destruction. And the fear is there also with bioterrorism and other actors. And here I feel there's a good reason to work, and there's reason for optimism, that states will not want to have non-states to be empowered to do things. So I think we have to make a distinction between state to state and state to non-state actors. Then you go forward with the CTBT, trust and verify, open skies. There's a whole idea like, yes, we do something, but you say you're doing it, but we don't trust you. And there's not that much trust at the moment with the US and China. And these are issues of national sovereignty and maybe also even national survival. So how can we trust and verify? And I think there AI will be very important, because you need AI to fight or to check AI. A little bit like to fight heat with heat in Korea and other places. And what developed over the time from 1945 onwards is a very strong taboo, the nuclear taboo. And that helps us immensely. If you look at like nuclear powers waging wars against non-nuclear powers, the US against Vietnam, Russia against Ukraine, and it's very important that non-nuclear states raise the bar as high as possible. Now with a nuclear weapon, you can see when it's used or not. With that work with AI, can we really build up a threshold like this as a powerful weapon? I think it will be much more difficult. But if you look at biological and chemical conventions, and maybe that's the more applicable comparison, we've also tried to build very strong taboos against doing so. Not everything you can do technically should be done. And I think there's an important role for us to raise these things. The role of the state and private. Here, I think there's a very different thing. AI, if you look at nuclear, it's very much a state-dominated technology. And it's quite, the IAEO has very clear ways, like you need this. So it's not anybody can build a nuclear bomb. Many people have tried it. There are all these science fictions about terrorists getting hold of nuclear material, but it's not that easy. With AI and in cybersecurity, it's much more, the threshold, I think, is much lower. And there I think we need to really, even from the state level, have a much different relationship with private companies. Look at the US, what's happening, that they suddenly feel, oh, these companies are so powerful, we need to pull the plug. Initially, it's like, yes, go forward, race, and we will cover the market, but now there's a second thought. I find it's interesting also that the laissez-faire attitude has been not there in China. I think Chinese government has been quite careful in managing also the risk, and in doubt be slightly more, but be a bit slower. Where does that leave all the rest of us, the non-AI superpowers, if I may say so? Maybe the other ambassadors will be very angry with me for saying that. And I think, first of all, for us, it's very important to develop norms. And you want to sit at a table where we develop norms. And lots of things are happening in the OSCE, in NATO, but most importantly in the UN. We just heard a panel of the UN, all the candidates. And the UN is the forum where we develop things that apply to all of us. And I think it's very important that Korea actually co-sponsored and brought AI into the Security Council. So here we are right at the realm of diplomats. We know international law, we know how difficult and how these procedures work, but we need the input from the outside for that. And lots of things happen. I think back of the Re-AIM summit in Korea last year, initiative that's been put up, and there are other initiatives. I think it's picking up a lot of steam from different areas. So develop norms, and it sounds very easy, but even just to define what is an autonomous weapon. When is a weapon autonomous? And where's the human in the loop when you don't have much time? So there's lots of questions to be answered also in cyber diplomacy. There are rules in international law, the behavior of due diligence, like states have a responsibility what's happening on their territory. I think this applies very much if states actually allow cyber terrorism and cyber threats to be executed from their territories. And the line is also that some states might use AI and cyber in what we would call a criminal way to gain certain resources. I don't go into the details here. So to do that will be very difficult also because there's this intense competition. But we need these norms, and I would advocate strongly in these norms, and within these norms, also from different ideas. It's very interesting, your presentation, to say that from a Rwandan perspective, it's first about empowerment, it's first about bringing development forward. I knew when Kenya started with M-Pesa, everybody thought, wow, this is something, it's a leapfrog in technology. So to have these different ideas on the table, and that's the UN. It's nowhere else where it should be. Secondly, as a nation state, we need to also protect our citizens. So we need a certain degree of digital sovereignty. We need to beef up our own defenses, cyber diplomacy. We have different ideas whether we call and attribute cyber attacks or not. Sometimes it might be better not to say where it came from. Sometimes it's better where it comes from. There's a lot of the coordination on that and a lot of dialogue on that and a lot of also exchanges about that, because it blurs really the boundaries between outside and inside, and to have the dialogues, for instance, and the dialogues are not just formal dialogues, but also other fora. I think it's very good that you do this here. This is exactly the kind of idea, like a Korea University within another forum. The very well-known Munich Security Conference has a Munich Cybersecurity Conference now added onto it to pick this up. To finish this, do we have enough time? Do we have 20 years' time to wait for it? I do not think so, because these things happen so rapidly. So there's an enormous pressure for us diplomats who like to work slowly in international conference room 9 to 5 to really get up to speed. We have to. We don't have the luxury to wait that long. Because, and that's another analogy, very often things only happen when there's a tragic disaster. Look at Bhopal, look at others. Things go really wrong. There's a disaster in a nuclear power plant or so, and then you wake up. We don't have that time. We shouldn't let it come to a disaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador Schmidt, for your very detailed and very substantive presentation by mentioning, in fact, about lots of key elements, so critical elements, such as your comparison between the cases of WMDs, nuclear, chemical, biological, particularly nuclear weapons, from 1945 to 1968, at the moment of the adoption of the NPT. It took 23 years, almost 25 years, and at the end of your presentation, you asked the question, do we have time, such a time, in addressing the AI and the cyber threat? No, we don't have. mainly because of the so rapid advancement of technologies. Yeah. So we should take this issue really serious, particularly when it comes to norm making on time. Norm, well, when it comes to cyber norm or AI norm, well, it could not be the hard law. Well, even with the soft law, code of conduct, well, it's okay. Yeah. So what is happening within the UN system is a well, similar kind of multilateral effort, which is named the global mechanism, which is started from March this year. So I do wish that even in the midst of global conflict, dual wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, multilateral efforts within the UN context to deal with the cyber and AI together could be continued without further disruption. That's my real prayer for them. And you mentioned also about the re-aim, responsible AI in the military domain. We Korea, we are very happy, and we are proud that we co-hosted from the beginning this important initiative to address new area of military use of AI. Here the key principle should be that the human in the loop or human on the loop. Human out of the loop is unthinkable, unimaginable. We should not allow machine to decide the fate and the life or death of human beings. So it's really a serious question for the future of humanity and the human being. So here, AI should be human-faced and human-centered, and there should be minimum human on the loop. Human in the loop is the ideal stage. If it's difficult, in that case, minimum, there should be human on the loop. Human out the loop, we should never agree to this concept. Looking back, recently, unfortunately, AI was used as a weapon in the war, in the ongoing war, particularly between the US and Iran at the end of February. So this is another headache for humanity in the years to come. So I will get back to this issue later on because of time. And you mentioned also, you touched on attribution issue. So I agree also to the difficult and delicate issue of how to identify the origin of cyber attack. It's a question of attribution. So we will get back to this issue together later on also, if time allows. Thank you, and I will give the floor to Ambassador Wong of Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Tree. Fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very grateful for this chance to be here to talk about a topic that I think has quite consequential significance for all of us, for our shared future, the intersection between AI and cybersecurity. I would like to first start by talking about some of the challenges before I address Singapore's and also ASEAN's responses to these challenges. The nature of the cyber threats that we face today has shifted profoundly in the recent years. Up until fairly recently, the challenge it was one of a scale and skill. Sophisticated cyber attacks require significant resources, technical expertise, time, money. The advent of AI has changed that entirely. Today, the barriers to launching a sophisticated cyber attack has fallen dramatically. So, aided by AI-enabled tools, malicious actors can automate the reconnaissance of networks. They can find vulnerabilities at machine speed. They can generate phishing emails, deepfakes, and all kinds of different fabricated personas in a way that is almost indistinguishable from the real thing. And at the same time, as our countries become more digitalized, our economies become more digitalized, as our critical infrastructure becomes more interconnected, the attack surface for malicious actors to strike also has expanded. The economics of crime has also gone up because of AI. So just as Ambassador Trey shared some statistics, I was also reading up a bit. The profitability of doing fraud using AI is 4.5 times more than traditional methods of fraud. Agentic AI systems now can autonomously plan and execute entire fraud campaigns. Interpol has described this as the industrialization of fraud. So all of these presents rather serious challenges that no single nation can address on its own. But this is not a cause for despair, because if harnessed properly, AI can become a powerful instrument of defense. It can enable faster threat detection. It can also detect anomalous behavior in a quicker way. There can be more adaptive responses to these various challenges. So what we need is more and greater cross-border, cross-sectoral collaboration to build up the capabilities and also the trust needed to ensure that AI and cyber technologies serve our collective security rather than undermine it. And so today's discussion is quite useful, and to hear from different countries, different perspectives of how this is being done. Let me zoom now into Southeast Asia, to Singapore. Singapore has worked consistently with our fellow member states in ASEAN. ASEAN stands for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, to strengthen our collective cybersecurity capacity and capabilities. So allow me to make 3 points about this area of efforts. My first point is that because cyber threats do not respect geographical boundaries, it is critical that countries work together to address them. And so in ASEAN, what have we done? I'll give you a recent example. 2 years ago in 2024, ASEAN launched our Regional Computer Emergency Response Team, CRT, CERT. This ASEAN Regional CERT, located in Singapore, complements the operations of the individual national CERTs in the individual ASEAN member states. It promotes and facilitates information sharing about cyber incidents and also responses to those incidents. So Singapore, through our cybersecurity agency, we were playing our role in terms of working through the work stream in ASEAN to get this particular ASEAN Regional CERT going. And today we are involved in the information sharing mechanism within the CERT itself. My second point is that we need to strengthen regional cybersecurity capacity building so that collectively we can better detect, identify, and respond to these threats. This is because our collective security is only as strong as our weakest link. Since 2016, Singapore has run an ASEAN Cyber Capacity Program to support regional cyber capacity building efforts. 2 years on from there, in 2018, we established an ASEAN-Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, and it serves 3 main functions. The first is to conduct research and provide training on various aspects of cybersecurity, including international law, cyber strategy, and also different aspects of cyber policy. Second, this Center of Excellence provides CERT-related training and facilitates information sharing as well as the exchange of best practices. And third, it conducts cyber defense training and exercises. So Singapore has engaged leading cyber experts, and we have also our partners across governments, the private sector, academia, and NGOs to design and deliver programs that at this particular Center of Excellence. And to date, through the Center of Excellence and through the ASEAN Cyber Capacity Program, we have rolled out 60 over programs covering the operational, technical, legal, diplomatic aspects of cybersecurity. And these programs have benefited over 2,000 officials across ASEAN and beyond. ASEAN itself, we have also set our sights beyond the ASEAN region. So last year in December, we held our inaugural cybersecurity workshop for member states of not just ASEAN, but also of the Pacific Islands Forum at this particular ASEAN Singapore Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. That was the first time that PIF member states took part as a region in such a program at our Center of Excellence, and it was a significant milestone in terms of ASEAN PIF collaboration. My third point is that it is in our interest to have a trusted, multilateral, and rules-based cyberspace, which is why Singapore and ASEAN have sought to play an active role in shaping and supporting the development of the relevant norms. In 2018, ASEAN became the first regional bloc to subscribe in principle to the 11 norms of responsible state behavior in cyberspace. And building on this foundation, ASEAN has taken steps to translate that commitment into action through the development and endorsement of the ASEAN Norms Implementation Checklist. And this checklist essentially outlines the voluntary actions that states can take to implement each norm in line with their priorities. Here at this point, I thought I would just touch a little bit on the cooperation between the ROK and Singapore as well as ASEAN on the cybersecurity front. We are very grateful to have ROK as our partner. Through the annual ASEAN ROK digital work plans, the ROK has regularly delivered a comprehensive suite of impactful initiatives to support ASEAN's digitalization process, as well as enhancing the cybersecurity capabilities of the individual member states. One key aspect of this program is actually the ASEAN Cyber Shield hacking contest, last held in Busan last year. It brought together 160 different participants to address cybersecurity issues at the intersection of smart cities, smart ports, and supply chains. Bilaterally, Singapore and the ROK also have a very strong cybersecurity cooperation across the policy, operations, and technical tracks. Last year, we inaugurated our bilateral cybersecurity dialogue, and we look forward to doing more with the ROK going forward. Next year, Singapore will take over the chairman of ASEAN, and we will also take over as the country coordinator for ASEAN ROK relations, dialogue partner relations. So we look forward to working closely with the ROK, both bilaterally and in our capacity as the ASEAN chair to further strengthen our cybersecurity cooperation. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Ambassador Wong, for your very substantive presentation. And particularly, I know very well that Singapore is playing a central role within the ASEAN when it comes to cybersecurity and the cyber cooperation. So in this regard, I noticed that already regional computer emergency response team of the ASEAN has been operating since 2023. What your government, Singaporean government, has been doing in this area of cybersecurity is really something impressive. I should say this, something really impressive. When I was in charge of cybersecurity within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, particularly in 2013, I organized the Seoul Cyberspace Conference as the head of preparatory secretariat. At that time, we had very constructive and detailed discussion. Between myself and the head of Singaporean delegation who attended this Seoul conference on cyberspace. It was a part of the London process: London, Budapest, Seoul, The Hague, and New Delhi of India. It was the initial period of cyber security conference processes. Since then on, I found really today, particularly today, Singapore became the center of excellence, particularly for this region of ASEAN now, ASEAN 11, together with East Timor admission. And furthermore, ASEAN, particularly with the lead of Singapore, ASEAN expanded cooperation with the Pacific Island countries in the context of a PIF. So it is really another matter of great advancement in this area. With that, I now give the floor to Ambassador ASTUTO of the European Union. So you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and let me also thank Jeju Forum and Korea University for organizing this panel and for inviting me with such distinguished friends and colleagues. As previous speakers say, we are facing a transformational moment. Artificial intelligence is changing radically our economies, but also our societies at large. And all these at breathtaking speed. In the past 1 year, 2 new generations of artificial intelligence models have been rolled out. And according to some experts, we'll soon face models that will approach human reasoning. Will that happen? Who knows? But if you look at the recent pattern, it's well possible. So we must be ready for this transformation. Artificial intelligence opens great opportunities for our societies, for our economies, for the well-being of our communities, but it also carries risks. And we have just heard very eloquently a description of such risk. So how do we face these challenges? Well, we in the European Union, we want artificial intelligence to be safe. We want it to be a tool to promote our values and to benefit our communities at large. In order to achieve that, the European community has elaborated its own vision and enshrined it in law, as we do it in the European Union, with the Artificial Intelligence Act. We want Europe to be a lead player in artificial intelligence and innovation, and we want to make the most of artificial intelligence to boost competitiveness, but again, also to support public goods, for instance, to support public health. And we want the access to the benefits of artificial intelligence to be as widespread as possible, not just limited to large corporations. So the Artificial Intelligence Act is about boosting artificial intelligence development and deployment, but also setting clear guardrails. It's a first a comprehensive framework put in place globally, and it's meant to foster innovation while preserving safety. Innovation and safety must go hand in hand. The legislation is grounded in the risk-based approach. It means that obligation increase when risk increases. Developers and deployers have very clear responsibilities when they put in place new models. They need to notify EU institutions, and they need to assess and mitigate systemic risks, including misuse for cyber attacks. So we are delving into our experience in the past about consumer protection, for instance, or about competition, to ensure a framework which boosts innovation but preserves public safety. So we strongly believe that having a clear and predictable regulatory framework can also help investment. We want to help the adoption of artificial intelligence. We want to use it to increase productivity in key sectors, including physical artificial intelligence, where Korea is particularly advanced. We believe in this sector, the scope for cooperation between the European Union and Korea is pretty vast. In order to achieve these objectives, we will build on the comparative advantages that the European Union has developed over the years. For instance, our science and technology ecosystem, one of the best in the world, but also our industrial data and know-how, our unique manufacturing expertise, which is grounded in centuries, I would say. So we want to accelerate innovation, making use of our public supercomputers networks. And we've already set up 12 artificial intelligence factories, while we are working on artificial intelligence gigafactories. And here the plan is to replicate the model, what CERN has done for particle physics. So we want to bring together the best and brightest in our artificial intelligence gigafactories. Here the reference to CERN is important because CERN is an international venture. So while we want to build our tech sovereignty, and we want to build strategic independence in semiconductor, cloud, artificial intelligence, well, this does not mean that we want to work in isolation. Well, quite the contrary, because we believe in the power of international cooperation. In bilateral settings, with Korea, for instance, with other partners, such as ASEAN, working together at the UN. But as other speakers have said, these sort of challenges cannot be addressed by any single individual player. We all need to work together to set the rules of the games. The European Union, I think, has a good record when it comes to establishing a global partnership. Here, let me mention Horizon. I mention it because it's our flagship program in research and therefore also in innovation, and because Korea is the first Asian partner that has joined Horizon. And I'm glad to say the success has been outstanding. So we work bilaterally, we work in multilateral setting, and let me mention here the recent event, the like-minded cyber deterrence group of experts, which was held here in Korea, as another example of an instance where we work in multilateral settings. We want, in short, we want to harness the potential of artificial intelligence, but we must, in parallel, protect the public. In terms of practical measures, which are obviously important as much as the theoretical or legislative framework, we are about to issue an action plan on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. And this action plan will contain a very concrete list of steps to take to ramp up preparedness for member states and for industry. But again, also when it comes to taking precautionary measures, it's important that we compare notes and we share best practices with Korea and with other partners. And since I'm lucky today to be in a panel with 2 member states, I think this gives you also the flavor of how it works in Europe, in the sense that the European Union can help as a force multiplier and in setting a general overall framework, be it political or in legislation, and then individual member states implement their own policies. So let me conclude here. The European Union wants to be a global leader in trustworthy artificial intelligence. We want to be strategically sovereign, but we strongly believe in international cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador ASTUTO, for your very helpful information and the wonderful presentation when it comes to the European Union. And well, so far as I know, well, EU was the first institution or first case of the adoption of AI law. Well, the final phase of it was completed in 2024, if I remember that correctly. And my sense is, well, as for the European Union, well, the EU will put more emphasis on the aspect of regulation rather than innovation. Could you elaborate well, briefly on the status of EU AI law and its current implementation status? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, what you say can be a pretty widespread perception, but the reason is that the legislation is pretty evident. What we do in parallel with the legislation is more hidden, let's say. But our legislation in artificial intelligence, for instance, goes hand in hand with a number of very practical actions to try to boost investment. Investment in the necessary infrastructure, in what is needed in order for artificial intelligence to flourish. We aim at 200 billion investment. That's part of our Invest in Artificial Intelligence strategy recently published. We also want to make the most of our strength in research and development. I mentioned that earlier. Horizon is a program which is funded with EU funds. But what we do within Horizon almost inevitably has industrial implication. That's the upstream research that then brings spillovers in terms of practical operational solutions. And the supercomputers I mentioned, again, this network of supercomputers would not be possible if not as a joint endeavor of all member states through the European Union. And as part of our endeavor, also the President von der Leyen has announced our work towards is establishing these 5 artificial intelligence gigafactories that can make a difference again, drawing some inspiration from what we've done in the past in other fields, such as particle physics. So I think we have got a clear message from our member states that we need to establish a network which is at the same time promoting innovation, providing safeguards, and offering concrete tools for boosting investment.
Thank you for this elaboration, very clear elaboration in case of European AI law between its regulatory function as well as its innovative function between the two. So in this regard, I think the European Union keeps the balance between the two. Yeah. So thank you again. And I invite Ambassador Tanel of Estonia to make a presentation. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me. I want to reassure to the public that cybersecurity and AI is not a topic just for middle-aged men. There are also female experts who can participate, and I do hope that within the next years you're able to also invite to the panel. But just wanted to make the point at the beginning, because inclusiveness is one key point actually in advancing the AI. So for Estonia, the whole story of cybersecurity really started in 2007 when we faced nationwide attacks. We had been dealing with digital agenda already for years, but that really brought the attention of security in digital world to the attention of the politicians. And immediately also the international norms and international law came to play, because we had politicians asking, okay, who can we blame? Is there someone whom we can kind of show finger at and say that you can't do this? At that time, globally, we were not ready for any norms. So there had been a bit of a norm development happening within the UN, and fast forward in 2015, we had the voluntary norms that Ambassador Wong was talking about. In Estonia, in parallel, we started building up our own capacity in terms of understanding and comprehending international law. With the cyber attacks, we established our NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence. And that has several flagship projects. One is Tallinn Manual, one is Lockshield's exercise, and SciCon conference. Tallinn Manual there is an academic work that really brought different experts all around the world together to really understand better how international law is applied in cyberspace. The basic premise is that we have international law, we have the agreement globally that it applies universally. Now we come to the point where actually we don't have agreement on how to apply it. We have agreement that it applies, but then the way how to implement it is up to kind of political fights. And with my last posting as a cyber ambassador, I saw in New York this constant battle. So we have kind of understanding of international law, but then the politics really starts making the difference. And it really goes also to today's topic. We would argue that we have international law and we should apply it also within the AI. And if there are any gaps, let's see where the gaps are so that we could really address these gaps. We have at the same time countries that would really like to have more state control, more legally binding ways how to regulate everything. But this is a waste of time. The norms were adopted in 2015 and we're still talking about implementation of the norms. Yes, I mean, ASEAN has been doing a great job here. Within the EU, we're trying to do quite a lot and to follow, but the norms are still voluntary, and also the implementation is voluntary. So we're reporting every year that we're doing something, but is it really helping us? I have a slight doubt here. So the norms are also within the AI kind of era are extremely important, because we are talking about attribution as one of the main functions for our governments. And we need to tie attributions to international norms, otherwise they wouldn't make too much sense. But at the same time, as governments, we are taking part in these lengthy negotiations on how to improve the situation. And here, I would really hope that some of the things that were discussed at the panel discussion with the candidates for UN Secretary General, that some of these elements will come to life, because right now there's a lot of inefficiency. But in the end, I'm so happy that in today's world, the cyber is being taken so much more seriously. And also within the AI context, we see so many cyber ambassadors in different systems. We see increasing number of capacity building efforts. We're seeing also now military structures encompassing both cyber and AI functions. So this is very good, because in the end, I would kind of bring out three main categories that we really need to think about. One is how we move on with our digital agenda, and how we will allow AI to enable this digital agenda. Second is AI in military. It's a fact. If we look at Russia's aggression against Ukraine right now, and how Ukrainians are fighting, there are so many AI components there, and that also gives the cutting edge to Ukrainians. So this is a fact, and I would encourage Korea also to continue with the re-aim issues, because it is a real topic right now. And third, what do we do with a digital gap or digital divide, which is now becoming AI divide? If you look at the different corporations and also governments that are so much focusing on their national interest and using also their industry to pursue these national interests, what about the rest of the world? I can remember really well when I was in Ethiopia, and we were organizing hackathons and trying to put together different youth communities, and to see how much potential in Africa, for example, there is, how many great ideas. And everybody also was eager to kind of go for some of these AI solutions and use this talent. There are so many resources, but then how do we really work with these resources and make sure that the possibilities that AI gives is really accessible to majority of us? Finally, we are along with El Salvador right now working within the UN, and we are co-chairs of a global dialogue on AI governance. And on 6th and 7th of July in Geneva, there will be another meeting of this group in the margins of AI for Good Summit. So we're trying to really kind of create this global platform for that would be inclusive, really addresses different interest groups, government, non-government, different age groups, to really look at the opportunities that AI gives. How do we address these AI divides? How to make AI safe, secure, and trustworthy? And a topic that has not gone through this panel yet, how do we address human rights within the AI context? And my time just ended, as the screen shows, so I will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your punctuality. Thank you. And as you slightly mentioned, I know your career background. Immediately before coming to Korea, you were in charge of cyber issues, cyber ambassador in your country. So it's such your wording is really enlightening, and particularly when you mentioned the talent manual. Well, that's exactly what I am teaching at Korea University. Well, the curriculum of my teaching at Korea University is about international cyber law, but in fact, the basic textbook is with Talent Manual 2.0. Talent Manual 2.0. I just completed my teaching this Monday, and I'm so happy with that. And I summarized all the substantive content of this book. So as you mentioned, Talent Manual contribute a lot, and it is being used as a very helpful reference and scholastic that document, not only for the professors, for students, as well as for the practitioner, multilateral practitioner. Well, I know very well that in drafting, in negotiating the global mechanism framework within the UN, Talent Manual languages frequently quoted and used. So in this regard, Talent means dual things for me. Talent, well, you should know much better than I what happened in your country in 2007. Yeah. Afterwards, NATO decided to establish NATO CCDCOE, NATO's Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence in Tallinn itself. And since then on, Tallinn, your capital city, became the headquarters of cyber defense of the NATO organization. So, and secondly, through publication of the series of Talent Manual 1 and 2, and Talent Manual 3, is being prepared and soon published. I hope so, sometime this year or next year. By supplementing the AI-related contents and so on, really recent information. So with altogether, certainly Talent Manual could continue to make a substantive help to the multilateral efforts for the drafting these important guidelines and roadmaps for the AI and the cyber together. With this, I now give the floor to my colleague, Ambassador Jong, who is in charge of international cyber issues within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I know, Ambassador Yoon, you are very busy dealing with cyber-related pending issues and challenges. That's what exactly I did before my retirement within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So now, you have the floor, Ambassador Yoon.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Choi. And good afternoon. First of all, I want to start by thanking our organizers, including the Korea University and the YOUN Jeju. And also, thank you very much, Ambassador Choi, because he's been my boss for like almost 2 decades, and I'm personally very honored to inherit the position once he held more than 10 years ago. The same position, pretty much. And also, I'm very happy to meet my best colleagues in town, right here. And Tanel, I think the facilitator forgot to mention, but actually, Tanel has been the cyber ambassador in Estonia for 5 years before he was posted to Seoul, and he's even wearing the cyber socks. He's making a statement. All right, so actually, I was told to speak about AI and REAIM Summit, which REAIM stands for Responsible AI in the Military Domain, the one meeting Korea hosted in Seoul 2024. But let me try to connect AI, cyber, and other security issues in my head. First of all, let's start with the military AI. So if you're familiar with the language of disarmament and non-proliferation, in Geneva, a conference on disarmament. There was an expert group discussed a lot about laws, lethal autonomous weapons, way more than 10 years ago. There were early movements on constraining the use of so-called killer robots, and headed by someone like Professor Nolan Sharkey. But by 2019, they could somehow agree upon certain guiding principles. There are 11 points. Now, at the same time, although we do talk a lot about AI, not only in the military domain, but this process has been very incremental, meaning AI was slowly making its ways into the military system as we know it, starting from ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and now more into commanding and control and targeting system. So that's exactly where the point that people start to talk more about whether humans are in the loop or on the loop, or humans are totally out of loop. So the core issue here is the choice of lethality, when to pull the trigger to actually damage or kill, or kill persons, or just destruct any properties or military targets. Now, I think it was not until like 2021 that some sort of more comprehensive sets of norms on the use of AI in the military domain were introduced. That was done by NATO way back in 2021, and I think it's the Netherlands government. I think they actually announced a plan to launch this REAIM meeting back in 2022, but the order came from the Dutch Parliament way back in 2019, meaning the international community has been already working on this issue for nearly a decade. There were signs, there were cases of early adoption, and there were cases of some worrying trends that we could observe. So by early 2020s, it culminated, at least in the military AI, it culminated in the process of creation of REAIM Summit. So I think ROK made really great, good choice by co-hosting the first REAIM Summit in the Netherlands in 2023. And in September 24, we hosted the REAIM Summit in Seoul. I was directly in charge of that summit myself in organizing. And after completing the summit, me and my team said, okay, now is the time to bring this issue to the world stage. So as Ambassador Schmidt put it very eloquently, it was all about norm, and we need to strengthen the norm. So what we've done is we've tabled a UN General Assembly resolution together with the Netherlands, and it received majority, big votes, 165 yeses. Only 2 no's, that was Russia and North Korea. Sorry, I didn't want to name it, but that was the case. Now, things have changed a little bit afterwards, but we kept pushing on things. So there were some countries now start to focus more on innovation than regulation of things, but nevertheless, we still carefully pushed things forward. And my president himself brought this issue to the UN Security Council, because Korea was the president of the UN Security Council for the month of September last year. So during the presidential debate, we put this on the table. We had a big open debate on AI and its implications for international peace and security. So I think during the opening session, one of the speakers put it so very, very nicely. We really brought the AI and security to the high politics agenda all around the world. And then, by the way, the open debate lasted for 3 days with almost 80 speakers. And here, looking back, I'm looking the present, all the tasks now we have in front of us. The REAIM process continuing. The third meeting was just held in A Coruña, Spain. And the fourth one, I'm pretty sure there will be the fourth summit, hopefully organized by one of the global south countries this time. And while the UN General Assembly or REAIM process goes on, there's another more immediate concern that recently I'm looking into more immediate concerns, which is AI-driven cybersecurity threats. I think some of us already mentioned in this panel, but recently I had a chance to chair a big meeting of like-minded countries in Seoul on cybersecurity. But the entire meeting didn't proceed without someone mentioning about mythos. I think I'm pretty sure you already all heard all of it and what the implications are. Now, we are already looking at the world that cybersecurity, the cyber attacks to our national, critical infrastructures or any, or just businesses or even individuals or businesses, there's a constant uptick. We can observe this over the past 2 years, and we believe it's because of AI, and the pace can be even quicker, the scope greater, and the severity even worse if this trend continues and left unchecked. So what can you do? Many of us already, earlier speakers already pointed this out, especially Tanel, but it's time that we start to cooperate. There is no have or have-nots here, and there, as Ambassador Schmidt said, this is, cyber threats or AI systems do not fundamentally do not rely heavily on materials. Of course, we need electricity, we need good chips, but again, one single computer can still do lots of bad things. What are you going to do? We need to talk about norms in every institution as possible. If it's not working very smoothly in the well-established organizations, then we should try some sort of minilateral formulation. And we also need to talk seriously with the businesses, because nowadays, without their help, things will not go that smooth. And when technology advances so quickly, unless we continually update ourselves continuously, then we may end up pursuing wrong goals that's totally outdated by the time we actually came to some sort of solution. I'll stop here, and thank you very much for all the organization.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Yoon, for your some important updates. What's going on in this important area relating to the cyber and AI. And I have one question because of time. Well, unfortunately, because of a time constraint, I have really a lot of subtopics and elements to be discussed with you together, including this newly emerging issue of weaponization of AI technology in the world, including the ongoing war in the Middle East. Well, it's really terrible. It's different from the laws or killer robot. Well, AI data, AI-related intelligence has been put already in the system, military-controlled system, and with this, the attack could be quickly, amazingly quickly, in 24 hours, more than 1,000 targets were eliminated or attacked with 100% precision. So this is another issue, emerging issue. It's not directly related to the laws. Well, about the laws, Ambassador Kwon, could you share with us what's going on about this issue of international discussion about on the norm making on the laws, particularly could you tell us about its perspective, taking into account what's going on in the physical world, actually. Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to be very brief. To be very straightforward, there is no serious updates after the UN, the CCW has they agreed upon and adopted the 11 points guiding principles in laws. After that, I think the international community has shifted its focus on how do we deal with the increasing, more prevalent use of AI in the military, all sorts of military activities, not only targeting and attacking. So laws was, the international debate on laws was very important in raising awareness of the importance of the issue, because laws is directly associated with the act of, the lethal decision that this weapon system is making, with or without human oversight. Now, current debate that we have, whether it's about comprehensive AI use in war in Ukraine or war in Iran, it's more about how some militaries of certain countries are transforming its military activities, the entirety of its military activities in light speed, and it's all it expects. It's not only ISR, it's not only target identification or acquisition, but if it really gives you full-scale use of AI in the military, gives you an very clear, may give very clear decision advantage over the other, which makes some military asset resources of the other, its opponent,
타겟으로 삼는
meaningless. So in that regard,
이런 관점에서
okay, I think it's translator. Yeah. Okay, so in this regard,
이런 관점에서
at this, yeah, okay. So at this point, I think the nature of the debate has changed, and at this point, either re-aim or more general discussion on AI, whichever we focus on, its implication on the national or international security would not be diminished, because now AI is really, it's sneaking into every aspect, every walk of our lives.
Sneaking, yes. This wording is sneaking. Well, yes, it's really relevant. Thank you very much for this explanation. Because of our time, we have only 8 minutes for the Q&A. So initially, my wish was to organize the second round of talks by asking you another question, but due to the time constraint, as you see it, I now open the floor for the audience so that the audience could ask a question. Yeah, could you thank you very much for raising your hands, and could you identify yourself?
Hello, my name is Jiun from the UN Foundation. The question I have is to all the ambassadors here. So it seems that when it comes to norm setting for AI and cyber, it seems that the middle powers were the ones who have the most entrepreneurship when it comes to norm setting. Korea and Dutch with the re-aim process, UK with the AI Safety Summit, for example. But I'm wondering, it seems that the great powers are quite wary of these kind of like norm-setting entrepreneurship by the middle powers. So what are the ways that middle powers could actually get together so that there's a critical mass so that the norms set up by middle powers could actually push the big powers as well?
Maybe Ambassador Tanel or Ambassador Yoon, were you ready? Thank you.
If I could start here. One of the key points is about capacity building. We need to make sure that everybody in the room are able to talk the same language. And in some cases, we're still not there. But my experience from the UN within the last years has been that I've seen so many countries really voicing their concerns, voicing their positions, that the level is definitely increasing. But I would add another point here, which is extremely politicized within the UN systems right now, and that is how do you engage private sector, or how do you engage also civil society? I mean, everybody has some interest here, and especially the private sector. I mean, they are developing all these language models or all different systems, but they do not have proper voice within the governments, at least not within the UN system. So this is a big political debate, and we've been always trying to fight for this inclusiveness, but there are countries that have also vehemently opposed that. So that is also the question here. So capacity building and also getting additional voices into the room. Thanks.
Maybe Ambassador Yoon? No? Well, then due to the time constraint, I should conclude our session now because immediately after this, well, we will take pictures with Dean Dr. Jong together before conclusion. Thank you very much. Thank you.